You're listening to the Power Platform People podcast on the CRM Audio Network with the bearded CRM guy Iain Connolly and the Mark Christie. The guys will take you on a journey of the Power Platform community. Here we go.
Hello, this is now whatever. I don't even know what podcast this is we're doing. It's just another podcast.
Exactly. Just another podcast, just another chat. But today we have the wonderful, brilliant guy that is Mr. Ben Vollmer. How you doing,
How
Ben?
you doing?
Good morning or good night to you guys. It's a pleasure to be here with my two favorite my two favorite Scots.
Thank you very
And
much.
neither of us are even called Scott, so I don't know how to take that.
And the fact that you're saying good evening, good morning, whatever it is, yep, I completely agree. It's just shy of 10 p.m. at the moment for myself and Mark. And what time are you at the moment,
It
Ben?
is 6:43 a.m. here.
And where is here?
I'm sitting in the beautiful Westin in Melbourne, Australia.
I like how you have to sort of take a think about that because you've been so many different places that you actually kind of have to go, where am I right now?
This is actually not as bad as it's ever been for me. I had a job before Microsoft where I would do multiple cities in the same day. Like one year, I rented something like 600 cars.
That's like when I first passed my test because I used to buy a car and then sell it in like 3 months to buy a better car, but that was by choice, not for work.
I do remember one point waking up and rolling over and grabbing the hotel phone and looking and going, "Where am? Oh, that's where I am," and putting the phone back down so I knew where I was.
Wow, see, I've done that as a kid. Well, not as a kid, but as a slightly teenager, where I've had to look at somebody's mail to work out where I am. But never in a hotel. I was never that classy.
There's a story there, Ian. I'm not sure how to go that story there. Yes, I agree with that.
So at the moment, you're in Australia. Have you been kind of doing a little bit of a tour? Because I got a little bit excited when you posted somewhere that you're going to Perth. And I'm like, oh, Ben's coming all the way to see me. And then he's like, no, it's Australia. And I'm like, you absolutely.
Yes. So I've been in Australia. I guess what is it? This is I left last Saturday, a week, 2 weeks. Hell, I left. I left 2 weeks ago on Saturday and arrived here on Monday. I did Melbourne for 2.
Oh, it took you 2 weeks to get there. Monday was only 3 days ago.
It took me 2 days to get here. And then I was in Melbourne for 2 days. And then I flew to Perth, Australia, which you kind of grew up looking at the globe, going, look at that the smallest continent. There's Australia, and then you realize it's a 5.5-hour flight from Melbourne to Perth. No, the flight back, by the way, is half that time because there's a tailwind that moves the plane ridiculously fast. But the flight out there is a beast. And then I flew back.
Is it an actual 2-day flight, or is it?
It's a 5-hour flight out there for 2 days, meeting with customers, and did a D365 Saturday event on a Friday.
Okay.
And then I flew back.
Well, actually, you say it was a Friday, but depending on what time zone other people were in, it might have still been a Saturday. Will we just go with that?
More likely, it actually been a Thursday for you.
Okay.
And it wasn't a hackathon or anything the day before; it was the actual event.
It is a core event, yes. So Nadira does one here on the Perth they do on Fridays, and I'm not sure the reason why. There's probably a good reason. It had good attendance, so it was good.
Let's go with the Friday as a Saturday. It's like the Arab Emirates element where they do Friday, Saturday off, work a Sunday through to Thursday. Maybe
I can't. That takes me a while of me going to our Dubai sub, our Mia sub my head doesn't get wrapped around that for like 2 weeks.
I used to work on a service desk way back in the day, one of my first IT jobs, and we used to be the overflow for an oil company who worked out of Dubai. Well, they were global, but we used to pick up the calls on the Sunday for them coming in with their password resets and printers broke, but we were just like overflow, log and pass. It was crazy because you're like, I can't do anything, I can just log it. IT will get back to you tomorrow. They're like, yeah, but we're working today. Sorry. It was ridiculous.
But but I think the same thing happened. Like our team at corporates used to scheduling like Monday through Friday trainings, and like I think our team in Dubai keeps going. No, we do it Sunday through Thursday, and they're like, "You guys work on Sundays?"
Yeah, it's a totally different world, isn't it? It's so
Yeah.
crazy. So you did a D365 Saturday on a
Yes, I
Friday.
did. And so well, it was called Dynamics Power. So I'm not sure if it was I'm going to call it. It was a community event that was
Okay.
part of the series, but it was done in Perth, and then went from Perth to back to Melbourne, and then on Monday morning I flew from Melbourne to Sydney, and then Monday night I flew back to Melbourne. We did the CRM User Group Summit and Partner Day in Melbourne on Tuesday. Flew to Brisbane Tuesday night. Did Brisbane Tuesday or Wednesday. Flew back here and did the event Thursday with customers, and then I have partner and customer meetings today, and then I fly out to Dublin tomorrow.
Why are you going to Dublin then?
So you got to so you got to kind of look at what I do for work. What my job is. I'm a trained chimp at events, so I get up on stage and I do the horse and pony show at events. I do a lot of customer meetings. So if you have a strategic customer that wants to talk about field service, I come and talk about what our strategy is, our goals are, how we operate, what we do. And then I also do a lot of internal enablement. So how do we make sure that our sales teams, our service teams, our pre-sales engineering teams, our teams globally can talk about field service in a way that makes sense to our customers, and they're fully equipped to be able to talk about it. And so here in Australia, it was a event called the Australian Power and Utilities Conference, which, by the way, was a fascinating conference. That was probably the coolest conference I've ever been to. More high-vis clothing there than any place I've been to in a long time. And then we had the D365 Summit, and then a CRM Saturday event, and then we had so then you kind of fill that in with customer visits. And then Ireland's going to be primarily we're doing a internal tour called Accelerate Selling Tour, which is around enabling our internal sales teams and pre-sales teams and other stuff. So I'm going there to do a train the trainer event to train our other folks how to train folks on how to do field service.
Yeah. Can I come along to that one?
The one in Dublin, you don't want to be there for that one, but there will be some that yes, partners are invited to some of the Accelerate Selling tours. So yes, there will be an opportunity for us to come to those.
There is also in Dublin about 3 or 4 weeks after that field service event as well, isn't there? On the Friday,
I'm actually pretty excited.
Of September.
I spent the past 2 years doing kind of hackathons for connected field service, which has been a heck of a lot of fun. We're doing a little different tack right now. So David Clark, Alexander Hines, and myself are doing a resource scheduling optimization hackathon on the 27th. Yeah, we got David coming over.
David's
as well.
coming over as well.
It's gonna be a chance to hang out with two rock stars and Ben.
Has field service knowledge a prerequisite?
You need to know the booking objects. So you should know the underpinnings of field service. So yes, I would say this is a much more advanced class, I would say, than you're not going to show up. We're not going to give you field service 101 because we're really gonna focus on the RSO components of this.
Yeah, so it's not the work. It's not creating work orders, that type of thing, and everything else. As you say, it's just the
booking. Yeah, I mean, a lot of our partners don't understand how RSO like they understand it conceptually, and we have not had trial environments or partner use environments for a lot of partners until recently. So partners have had to pay to get their hands on it, and a lot of partners are cheap, so they don't actually get environments for them. So the knowledge base around it's fairly limited. So we're trying to expand that knowledge base.
Well, this is it. It's all, as you say, everybody can conceptualize it and they can understand it in that way, but it's hard to buy into something when you don't physically know what it's going to do or how it's going to do it for you. So yeah, it's good to have the trial environments and be able to see it or something like that.
So really, you've got a week, or no, you've got about 3 weeks to learn field service so that the RSO session makes sense to you.
Well, it's 5 weeks tomorrow from recording this.
Okay, so you've got plenty of time. You can master field service in that time.
The nice thing is if Iain did it in 5 weeks, he might be more skilled than most of your consultants, Mark.
Oh, burn! But I'll take it.
But I mean, here's me just finalising a field service sale today as well.
Let's talk Field 1 Sky if we're going to be doing that. Let's go all the way back and start from there, right?
You know what? I don't like either one of you right now. No, it's actually funny. We end of life Field 1, I guess over a year ago, and it's funny. I feel like this week, I don't know what happened. Like this week, I got like 3 messages going, "Hey, remember you offered to help us transition to Field 1 or field service like 3 years ago? Yeah, we'd like to take you up on that offer now." And I'm like, wait, you mean those emails I sent saying the product's dead? If you don't move off it, we're not help. Now so it's that comes in waves though. It's the funniest thing. Like I won't get an email that says the word Field 1 in it for a year, and then all of a sudden I'll get like 15 of them in the same week, and I'm like this week I got 3 of them.
So when we release this podcast, I'm going to meta tag it all over the place with Field 1, so it's what people find when they search for it, and just give them your email address.
I mean, did you not just automatically forward those emails straight on to David?
So David is the readiness PM. David's job it is to do the readiness around field service for our consultants, our customers, and our internal teams around the documentation side of things. He doesn't, so there's actually a different team that handles the Field 1 transition. Thank God. I mean, just it's down to a handful left, which is I'm thankful for every day. Although we find
he did come with part of the takeover.
You actually have to get him on the podcast, and you have to have him explain how he came to work at Field 1, and then off the record, I'll give you the real story, and you can make sure you surprise him with it.
I think I met David maybe about 3 or 4 years ago when they were just starting to do the transition over, so it'd be good to catch up with him again. You're obviously flying all over Australia, off to Ireland. Like, as in your career, is that kind of what you've done? Are you almost like an assistant pilot? Have you been flying for every job you've done, or is it just in your more recent job?
So this is not the. I've actually had jobs where I've never, like my last job before this one. I think I traveled 3 times in 2 years. So I use it. There's a great app called Tripit, TRIPIT, and I've used Trip for a better part of a decade. And somebody was asking me a question. I was flipping through my Tripit, and you can see, 300,000 miles, 200,000 miles, 300,000 miles, 16,000 miles. Well, you could definitely tell that next year was 10,000 miles. You could definitely tell there was there were years where there were huge dips in my travel.
Yeah, I'm just having a wee look through mine. 34,000, 17, 18, and 7. Yeah, I've been using Tripit for a bit. I was using the one, was it WorldMate? Is that the one that came with BlackBerry? I used that for a bit, but then they end of life that as well.
So 2011 was 1,594 miles. I think I do that. I think I do it way more than that in a day now. Although my dad and I last year were sitting around having a conversation, and I realized that last year my average commute was 1,000 miles a day.
That's crazy.
Some daily commute, isn't it, is when on average we take it over.
With all those flights you've done, can you actually remember the first flight that you ever done for work? Because, I mean, we think of flying for work as nothing, but there's loads of folk that actually never have to get on a plane to go to work. It's second nature to us, but can you remember the first time you went anywhere for work on a plane? I mean, we might have to go back, like, decades and decades and decades, but I mean, it might not have been a plane. It might have been on the back of like a dinosaur.
Oh, this is way. So I would say my first work trip was probably. I'm pretty sure you guys were probably still in first or second grade. 96, 95, 95.
Yeah, I'd have been 12.
And it was a conference in I don't remember. I think it was Orlando or New Orleans. It was New Orleans. New Orleans. My first work trip was New Orleans, Louisiana, from Washington D.C. So it was a whopping 600 or 700 miles.
Okay. Like, did you find it weird to be asked to like, go on a flight and go and work somewhere? Because some folk just think it weird that we do this sort of thing.
My parents cannot grok. Well, so first of all, I had a bank that did not understand that I could make a credit card charge in London in the morning and in Paris in the afternoon and in Germany the following morning. And I literally had to change banks because they could not grok the fact that I had credit card charges in 3 countries in 1 day or 2 days.
Were they blocking your card?
They would block my card. And of course, they were kind of a regional bank out of Birmingham, Alabama. So you had to pick the phone up and call them during 9 to 5 Central U.S. time working hours, which generally is not where you're at, and tell them you were traveling. And they would unblock it for 3 days, and then you'd have to do it again in 3 days.
And international call charges weren't the same now as they were then, so wrong way around, whatever. But yeah, it would cost a fortune to do that.
It was just more than just a pain in the neck.
Yeah, it could be a bit of a nightmare. I don't think I've ever had that issue where I don't hop about that much though, and if I do, I'm not like you. I can't get up at 4 and 5 in the morning and stuff like that. I need to kind of be away the night before so that I'm up and refreshed. So I'm not usually too bad. I'm kind of in a place for 2 days and then out.
The trick is though, Mark. I think I think in the consulting arena, as a whole, there's a lot of I would call them functioning alcoholics that basically
yes,
I found for myself I can't drink when I'm on the road. Like literally, I have no problems drinking. I don't mind drink. I don't I'm not a anti-alcohol guy. I'm just I can't. I got to go to bed by 10 or 11, and I got to be up again by 4 or 5 to start my day. And so I don't have the time to have my brain clouded up by drinking 1,200 beers.
No, me and Ian have had this conversation. There's a few people that I've worked with, and I'm just like, and it's just simple things like after a day's work, you'll go out for a meal, and they'll actually tan a full bottle of wine in like half an hour, and then take another bottle back up to the room, and I'm like, how can you even drive to the customer the next morning?
Legally, I think would be the answer there, and as far as the rules are here, but
yeah,
I think that's where then they hope, like when me and you, like for instance, you don't drink, Mark, you are teetotal. I drink, but I don't drink when I'm travelling. I just don't really enjoy it for the exact same reason as Ben's just described. I don't want to be getting up slightly foggy headed, been there and done it and just regretted it. So it's just, I just can't do it. I don't enjoy it. I'd rather just go to bed at 10, watch a movie, go to sleep, that type of thing. But you're right, there's some people that, as Ben says, are functioning alcoholics, and it's an interesting situation, actually.
But if you are away for a long time, then I can understand it. Like if you're away for like 2 or 3 weeks on end, then you're going to get bored. What's the longest time you've been actually away from home for a work trip?
So I think this will be one of my longer trips. So normally 10 to 12 days is usually what I shoot for, Mark. Like that's kind of my upper limit. I left Atlanta the Saturday before I flew to Australia, and we did a week. We went back to visit some old friends in Atlanta. Took my boys to some doctors we couldn't find in Florida. And then I flew from there right out to Australia. So I was gone for a week. I'll be in Australia for 2 weeks. I'll be in Ireland for about 10 days. So that's about in it's going to be about a 5 week visit, 5 weeks total.
I mean, that is one of the things yeah, you're awesome at field service, but the thing that I think I actually admire most about you is when you're away, you bring the family with you. you do everything for them and kind of have them over. I mean, the three of us have been out for food with all the families together, and we spent some time together in Helsinki all together as well. And it's honestly, it's one of the. It warms my stone heart. Is probably the best way of putting it. That's actually saying something.
Do you just get emotional?
A little bit. I just honestly, with all the amount of arseholes there are in this business, and especially, I mean, I'll be honest, Ben, you're a salesman, so the sales guys are usually the biggest arseholes there are. It's actually really nice to see somebody who has a bit of morals and puts the families first. And you've got an awesome family, and I actually love seeing them when we're around.
I think to me, you got to understand why you do this. Like, I don't work for the sake of work. I work to provide for my family, and I mean that is that's and so if I didn't have my family, why would I work? And I probably would work because I'm dumb like that. But I'm just saying. But it's a you work. The motivation is very different, and I want my kids to experience. So first of all, back up for a second. If you go back 20 years in history, when Beth and I first got married, um, I think she thought work trip was code word for boondoggle.
I don't even know what that word means, but I'm just.
So boondoggle
I can probably
is
get
a non-essential work visit of any type. Done. It would be like scheduling. I've seen this happen, by the way, at companies, including Microsoft, where they schedule a team offsite at the Ritz-Carlton St. Kitts, or the and you have 2 hours a day of meetings and 8 hours a day of sitting by the pool, lounging, drinking beer, or skiing, or that's called a boondoggle. There might be a different word for it in other English vernaculars, but in the American vernacular,
company away day.
So I think Beth thought initially kind of business travel was a boondoggle, and what she's kind of so I think she went on some trips with me originally just to see what it was like, because like if you go to like Converge, the old Convergence, or Ready or Inspire. I mean, people post pictures of going to these really cool concerts, and they pick pictures of all these kind of things. And what they don't show you, or at least is that I got up at 6 a.m., did a breakfast meeting at 7, did another breakfast coffee meeting at 8:30, had a session at 10. They don't show you the fact that and you walk back on the room at 10:30 at night, throw the bag down, fall on the bed, and fall asleep. And so taking Beth with me originally was this is actually what it looks like out in the road. And then she actually realized how rough it was. So the nice thing is, she realized very quickly that it was a very rough existence, if you will. It's not a glamorous. Ben's working 2 hours and and sloughing off for 10. So we start bringing them on.
But you think about even just now, you're over in Oz. How much of Oz have you actually seen out with work? You've seen a conference room, a boardroom, a meeting room, and the hotel room, probably.
People. So again, people who don't travel a whole lot, they generally get a little bit entranced by where I am and what I'm doing, and I'm like, all Microsoft offices look alike. Okay, I mean, like the chair I sit in, the chair I sat in Perth, wasn't too much different from the chair I sat in Brisbane, which is not any different than the chair I sat in Melbourne or Sydney. Now, some of the offices are in cooler locations, and some have better view. Like the Singapore office view is freaking awesome. But
See, I really like the one in Dublin with the digital lake. I really like that. I think that's one of the nicest ones.
The Dublin office is gorgeous. The Dutch office, the Netherlands office, is amazing as well. The new Munich office is really cool. But at the end of the day, I sit in a windowed or windowless office. So like in Brisbane on what day was that? Wednesday. Dan Jackson, who's the field service lead for Australia now. Dan and I got into a conference room at 9 a.m. At 9:01, a customer showed up. At 9:59, that customer left. At 10:01, another customer showed up. At 11:01, another customer. I mean, like literally every hour on the hour, everybody in the room except for Dan and I swapped out.
Yeah.
And we had a 30-minute break for lunch, which we basically, scarfed lunch down, checked email. And at 6 p.m. we were done, hopped in the car, drove to the airport. He flew back to his hometown, and I flew back to Melbourne.
Yeah, and people don't get it. It's leaving early, airplane, airport, hotel, office, hotel, airplane, office. It's just a cycle. It's like, oh wow, you got to go here. I'm like, yeah, but I've never stepped out off the airport. Like I've said a couple of times, I've been to. Actually, you see, when I was in Amsterdam a few months ago, that's the first time I've actually been in like outside of the airport, and I've been to Holland about 4 times, or the Netherlands 4 times, and that's the first time I've actually been outside of a train station or an office. It's mental.
It's like when I was working doing the PSA project in London. I was in Trafalgar Square, staying in a Premier Inn, the Premier Inn hub that's right on Trafalgar Square. The office that I was working at was right at Trafalgar Square. And I seen none of London, tubes in the railway in the boardroom. Because you're there on your own. Like, I walked down to Buckingham Palace, it was like a 10-minute walk from the hotel. I walked down, walked through Mayfair, looked at the palace and went, oh, that's what that is. And walked back to the hotel. It's just not the same when there's no one else there. You're not doing touristy stuff, you're doing work stuff. It's just a different ethos. It's a total different mindset. It's so strange.
It's so funny. Microsoft has travel rules. As I don't know, you guys probably have travel rules too. Microsoft has travel rules, some of which make some sense, some of which make no sense at all. One of my former managers, she didn't put a rule in place. She put an incentive in place. She goes, look, you can fly business class, and I'll pay for it. She goes, you fly in the day of what we got to do, and you fly out the day. Fly out as soon as you can after the event's over. So the event's on Monday, you fly and land Monday morning, you do the event. If the event's over on Tuesday, you fly out Tuesday night, or you fly out first thing Wednesday morning. Or you fly coach, and you come in when you want, and you leave when you want, and I pay for everything the whole way.
Okay.
And so, but what we would do, so we used to travel together as a team. There'd be 3 or 4 of us traveling to an event together. It was actually really nice. We would sort of bake into the schedule, the agenda, one extra day. So if we were doing 4 days worth of stuff, we would kind of have 2 days break, 2 days, so that we had a break in the middle. Then she would sort of organize team events for us. So I've been to see some cool stuff. I think traveling solo. So I'm traveling solo right now. I don't have a whole. It pains my heart to get up and go explore Melbourne. I mean, because I have this guilty thing. I've got emails, 1,200 emails sitting in my inbox that I know I got to look at.
Yep.
But that's just from last Monday, right? And so I kind of feel guilty about it. But what I've learned is I have to take some time out of my own. Like today is actually my day. So today, I'm not going to 365 Summit. I'm meeting with a partner and a couple of partners because I want to, not because I have to. And so you have to take some day out, and you have to do something that is interesting to you. So like last night, I with Anil Shah and I walked up to the White Lights thing, which is like this art thing. They have this light driven, and we walked down the graffiti alleys in Melbourne. So I got some cool pictures of graffiti alleys, but it's one of those things where if all I do is saw the conference rooms, you don't really see Melbourne. You can't come back to it. On the subject of family, though, I think that the trick is you got to balance out. You got to balance out, and a lot of times, where you're going. I don't know, going months or years in, months in advance. Sometimes days in advance, but usually months in advance. And so, like when we came to Helsinki, I mean, those were $600 plane tickets, Mark. They weren't. It costs me more to go to California. It costs me more to fly sometimes to visit my folks than to fly Helsinki.
And Helsinki was actually quite a nice place.
It was. We love Tallinn, by the way. Estonia was awesome.
Yeah, the pictures from that and stuff looked absolutely amazing. I think Estonia, Croatia, and things like that are definitely on the to-do list for me. They're basically my doorstep, as you say, Ben. Like, you flying internals, like us flying there from Scotland, so we should do it more. You just don't see it sometimes. You can't see the wood for the trees.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, so I would say, so it is definitely a you definitely have to keep the family. I mean, I'm gone so much that if I didn't bring them with me occasionally, it wouldn't end up well. I mean,
They would forget who you were.
yeah. Which depending on, at some point you gotta like there's times I cut trips home to go home sooner. There's times where I elongate trips to bring the family with. So the trick there is, I think you gotta be flexible, and you can't have a fixed mindset and say, I'm going and doing X, Y, and Z, or X, Y, and Z if you're from another vernacular of English. I was told, by the way, for one presentation I did this week, that I was told my slides were too American.
Funny that.
And I looked at them and said, just so you guys know, I am an American. So if you want them to be Australian, here's the slide deck. You can go remove all my Z's and put S's in. I'm okay with that. And put extra U's in randomly.
So,
exactly.
You mentioned Tallinn there. Is that so? What's your favourite location that you've been to, either work or kind of bringing the family over?
So I will look at it differently. The location I want to go back to, how's that? Which I don't know is a favorite.
Okay.
I want to go back and explore Portugal in much more depth.
Portugal?
Why is that?
We spent, well, first of all, I'm a fat kid and I love food, as you're both very well aware. We spent Extreme 365 was a partner event, and they had it in Portugal in Lisbon a couple years ago. And so I actually spent, so I brought the family over. Actually brought mom and dad and the boys, Abby and Beth over. And so all of us did did Lisbon. And actually we even flew Will over. So we had a bunch of us there, and we did Lisbon, and absolutely loved it. Like, it was I love it. I love the architecture, the people that were very nice, and the food. It's a fat kid heaven. There's a place there called Time Out Market. We probably did Time Out Market for breakfast or for lunch and or dinner, about 8 days in a row. Like it was amazing.
Okay, Portugal's. I've never again another place I've never been, and it's one of these weird ones. It's getting different people's perspective on it, because I would never have thought of going to Portugal, but my wife likes doing that. She likes going to small places that have got like Christmas markets and doing that sort of thing. So
Yeah,
that's probably something I'll end up having to take her to Portugal now.
it was actually, so again, I'm not as cheap as the Scottish, but I'm but I'm pretty cheap.
You only really know two Scots people, though. Is that fair? Is that your fair analysis?
And yeah, we're probably the cheapest Scottish people there are. So, I mean, we're at total the wrong end of the scale for making any assumptions on us.
Sorry, I was not showing geopolitical diversity or inclusion there, so I'll have to back that up there. I would. So I'm a value buyer. So when you look at things that I buy, what I spend my money on, I'm a value buyer. And so like Estonia was probably a good half off of what everything. So what if a beer in Helsinki was €5, a beer in Estonia was €2 or €3. If a hotel room in Helsinki was €300 a night or €200 a night, a room in Tallinn was €100 a night. And so
value for money.
So value for money, and they're a 2-hour boat ride, so it's not like this is it's not a world away. It's 2 hours away. Portugal
cost of living though, isn't it?
It costs a living. Portugal's the same way. Like if you go to London, I think I think pounds get evaporated in London. Like they just kind of dissipate out of your pocket. And I'm gonna so even Glasgow is probably 25 or 30 of Edinburgh from a pricing perspective.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hang out. No, so like Portugal it's great food, friendly people, and it was easily, half the price of having that same event in like the UK or France.
Okay, so that's your favourite location then, but you did say you wanted to split that answer up.
Yeah, so that would be the place I would go back to. Like the place I would go back to, that's where I go back to again. So I really don't have a don't really have
another part of it. Okay, so you were just winding us up a wee bit, were you?
So favorites I look at favorite as where would I go back to? Where would I want to go again? Some place I love Amsterdam is a place I love going to. Like I could, if the Dutch subsidiary gave me a job offer tomorrow for a job I would like to do, we would be packing our bags and moving immediately. I like it there. There's some places that I've gone that have been, interesting culturally. So it's I would say probably Portugal, Amsterdam, Germany. The UK is for me. It's easy to go to the UK because it's not a huge cultural or language shift. I don't have to gear up for a lot of stuff to go in the UK or even Australia. It's pretty simple to go there.
Well, you maybe don't have to gear up to go to England, but when you come up to Scotland, it's a little bit different.
Well, yeah, I have to improve my vocabulary to impress upon the Scottish the veracity of how impressive things are.
And how you say Glasgow and Edinburgh.
It did. I mispronounce them every time. I know I mispronounce them every time, and I just gotta just.
It's not just you though; it's an Americanism.
Oh yeah, it's
just
too
I am too.
American.
Well, I did. It's funny. Yeah. I did learn. So my favorite learning from Finland, by the way, is that the Finns pronounce every word, every letter in the word.
Whereas Scottish people tend to drop a lot of pronunciation and just roll their R's.
I also learned that my last name is Vollmer. In Germany, I've been mispronouncing the name is of German heritage, of course. I learned I've been mispronouncing my name for my entire life.
Okay, so how should we pronounce it?
In Germany, it's pronounced Vollmer with an F.
Okay. Right, Vollmer.
But would that not be the V then having the two dots above it, changing the word?
Anywhere I go in Germany, it's Vollmer.
Well, try being Iain with two eyes. People don't know how to pronounce it.
I have an Iain with one eye, and they don't know how to. My mother calls him Iain, so she did for the first couple of years of her life.
So most people think that my first I is an L, so I get called Lean all the time. So because obviously do a capital I, it just looks like a lowercase L when you type it, depending on what font you're using. So it just looks like a lowercase L, and then you get people going, there's an extra I, and it really confuses them. Coming back from Spain there, the person checking us in on the flight had no idea how to pronounce my name. It was quite amusing. I can't even tell you how she tried to pronounce it because it just didn't make sense.
The concierge here at the Westin, there's a couple of them, but the one here is his first name is Iain. And I go, oh, you got Iain with one eye, and he goes, yeah, but he's probably late 60s. He goes, yeah, but you want to see my gang sign? And I'm like, sure. And he grabs a piece of paper and he writes his name Ian, and then he writes his last name out, and it's got an S in the middle of his last name, and he literally draws 2 lines. So the S is a dollar sign. He goes, "That's my gang sign." And I'm like,
brilliant.
You're expecting some sort of. I was expecting him to be twisting his fingers and doing some sort of crib West Side type thing, but no, he just writes it on a bit of paper. It's like a graffiti tag, but really simple.
And then he looks at me and goes, "And I do only have one eye." And I looked at him. He had a glass eye. I'm like, "Oh God, I'm
Oh,
so
my
sorry."
word. You're like, yeah, you need 2 to see. Oh no, you've only got 1. Oh my word.
Like,
That is genius. That's so unfortunate. I'm sorry, singular I, Ian.
with a gang sign.
Oh,
$sign Ian.
brilliant. That's now, we now have the artwork for the podcast. We just have to commission somebody to draw that up and play the Van Vollmer song in the background.
That Ben Vollmer.
Oh, testify, word, big up.
So let's put this back on track a little bit and kind of close out. So one question I always get asked, you're in the airport all the time. Do you always feel like you're going on holiday? Or when you're going on holiday, does it feel like you're going away for work? So what is an
funny.
airport to you?
So Beth hates me at the airport. Absolutely. My wife despises me at the airport.
Do you have an airport routine like me, where you just know what shit's going on and you know what
you want to read the
to be
departures
done?
board? Great. Walk over next to the departures board and read it. Do not stop in the middle of the aisle and read the freaking departures board.
Or sit as near you can to it, just so you can see the
sit
update
next to it.
when
That's
it
fine.
comes.
Just people who stand in the middle of the aisle and like look around. I want to plow through them. I legitimately just want to just like walk through them. So before TSA PreCheck existed in America, I used to opt out of the advanced scanning machines, and I would get the hand pat down. What's that?
Was that a preference? Was that a preference of yours to be hand?
The U.S. government
felt
wants
up?
to, look at my privates. They can do so in person, up close and personal. So yes, it was a preference that if you're gonna put a machine that's gonna do that, I'm gonna have a machine do it. I'll have a human do it, and I'll make sure that I enjoy the process.
That's exactly right.
When I get to the airport, for me, when I'm with myself, it's full work. When I'm with the family or I'm with somebody else, it's really about making sure that they can get through the journey. The journey goes through successfully. And so it's really about corralling. But I do I have a hard time getting the airport and relaxing. And for me, the airport is I go there. I'm doing these.
Because so for me, the airport is because I'm going for work. It's not I'm going away on holiday. Like my wife's, we're away in a couple of weeks to Thailand, and wife's, are you excited yet? And I'm like, no, not really. Oh, you'll be excited when you get to the airport. I'm like, well, nothing. When I get to the airport, I'll be thinking, oh, great, what emails have I got when I land? What's happening here? It'll not be till I actually get there that I'm a little bit excited, because I kind of get like an airport monster, whereas this is my regimented routine that I do every time I'm in the airport. I get into the airport, I go and buy a bottle of water, I buy a packet of chewing gum for the flight, I sit there, I have my coffee. I mean, it's like military precision what I do. And then when the wife comes or the kids are there and mess with that,
So I'm very much the same at the airport. It's like a bottle of water, a coffee, maybe a bite to eat. But I don't know if this is worldwide or if this is just a Scottish thing, but there's the standard airport picture that you tell everybody you're at the airport by taking a picture of your pint at 4 in the morning, 6 in the morning, because that's what people do when they go on holiday, pint, a glass of wine, whatever. I just don't do it. I just can't.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's that whole, as you say, it's that I'm in the airport more often for travel, for work. The idea of having a drink and then getting to a customer site just doesn't entertain me. So even when I'm going on holiday, I still don't do the same thing till I'm at the airport. I sit down, get my bags in the room, and then I'm
I would
like,
say
right, it's time to
so.
relax.
Lounge access for me, which I'm going to show my snobbery side here a second, it is critical. So before I even get to the airport, I figure out what lounges are there, what lounges I have access to. I kind of map out the lounge experience at the airport before I even get there. And literally, I mean, I walk in the door, I get scanned through security, and I make a beeline for the nearest lounge. And then if I'm there with the family, it's usually finding a kind of a communal seating area. If it's there with me, I go. They have these kind of office areas that have these big kind of cubicle areas where you can sit and work. First thing I do is I run over to a cubicle and I sit there and I fire my laptop up and start working. But that routine of I find the routine. I think the thing the one that my wife laughs at is when I get to a hotel, I have to unpack my bags. And I have to unpack I don't live out of suitcases, so I have to unpack my bags. And I don't care if it's a 2-day trip or a 7-day trip or a 1-day trip. Everything on my bag comes out, gets put in a drawer. And then like my toiletries, a hand towel goes down, my deodorant, my hair gel, my toothbrush, my toothpaste, my medication, everything gets put on a, like I have a routine I have to follow. And it's funny because we'll go, we'll share a hotel room, the whole family will, and that routine gets messed up. And Beth's always laughing at me. She goes, "You're getting grumpy." I'm like, I know, because my stuff got. She goes, "Just calm down," because like at home, I don't care where that stuff's all there, and But when I travel, I don't want to lose stuff, and so I'm very kind of OCD, if you will, about it has to be unpacked this way and packed that way, so that I make sure that I hit. I don't want to leave something in the hotel room. So it is.
Yeah, you don't want to leave your phone charger, something in the hotel room,
I
the thing that's vital, but it's such a small piece of equipment.
Oh, I've sold them. So I've given hotels so many chargers. It's unreal.
So you mentioned chargers, and for you guys, chargers aren't that big. Chargers are okay. How about I don't know, a US plug to international plug adapter? Leaving that behind means I'm out of work. Which is the reason I came there, is to do work. So I'm kind of SOL. So it's one of those things where I do a lot of, okay, this has got to go in the bag in this place so that I can pull it back out again.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, OCD in the way that pack bags. I got this cool thing that's, I don't know, it's the size of an A4 sheet of paper, but it's got lots of bands on it, and I just slide all my devices in it, and it holds it rather than all the devices sitting in the bottom of my bag. It's
So
cool.
I use, so Toomey makes these, they're about the width of an A4 piece of paper, but they're only about maybe a quarter of the size, length of it. And they look like miniature toiletry bags. And so I'm looking right now, I have 4 of them. So it's like one of them contains all my backup cords. So all my backup, again, I want backups of backups. I have, backup iPhone cords, backup charging cords with me that I don't ever use, but they're with me in case. But I have one that contains, my USB-C adapter, and one that contains my, so literally when I go on a trip, I grab one for, if I'm taking my Surface Go, I grab it and it has all the stuff the Surface Go needs to work. And then the other one has all my stuff for my Surface laptop. And then I have one that has my Roku stick in it. By the way, if you don't travel the Roku stick, I would tell you guys, you need to start doing that. That's the best thing since sliced bread.
Other mobile
mean,
HDMI, TV, PC devices are available.
Yeah, I've never used the other ones. We're a Roku house where I'm at. But what I like about it is the use is not so much watching Netflix, which I enjoy that doing, But I use it when I walk in hotels. I plug it in the hotel, and now I have a second monitor.
Yeah, true. See, I'm now away to start searching for those bags because Ian knows I've got a love for my Tooney
So
stuff.
I've a similar idea with the bags. It's like having a carry-on bag. So in my carry-on bag, I've got other bags. One's like the security bag, obviously your liquids. The other one's the cables, the different bits and pieces. You need hand sanitizer, that type of stuff. And it's like having the bags that you obviously put your clothes and stuff in as well. You get all of them. You get travel bags that help you pack your case. It's the same idea as having this OCD element that I know that the white bag's this, the black bag's that, the red bag's got this on it. It's exactly the same. And I think when you are a seasoned traveller, you build these things naturally and you find other people obviously do the same thing. Hence why, obviously.
So here we go then. So what other travel tips have you got what's Ben Vollmer's top 3 travel tips?
I would say adjust the time zone you're going to as soon as you possibly can. Like, I'm going to get on a plane on tomorrow morning, and I'm going to adjust to Dublin time. As soon as that across the threshold of that door in that plane, I'm in that plane, I am in Dublin. I'm acting like I'm in Dublin. I'm my clock. I literally set the clocks on my phone. I start sleeping when I adjust the time I'm going to as fast as I possibly can.
Okay.
So
that's one.
That would be the first one. I would also say most people consultants probably aren't, but most people overpack for trips. I always figure out what I need and I add one more to it. So if I know I need five button-up shirts, I pack 6. But then I don't pack, like I have 2 t-shirts with me for 5 weeks, or maybe 3, because I'm not wearing t-shirts. Right? I mean, I'm in a suit all day, every day. I go to dinner in a suit. My leisure time is a lot more diminished.
So just on when you say you go to dinner, how many evening meals are you having per evening at the moment?
Outside of I think you won. That's I think for me, Mark, that's you got to learn the art of time slicing. So I think the executives I work with do it a lot better than I do because they have better support doing it. For example, I think a lot of events I go to, you've got to show up at a lot of partner events. You got to show up at a lot of kind of bar events. So I call it lapping. You'll see me come to an event. You'll see me grab a drink, non-alcoholic generally, but occasionally it's alcoholic, and I will literally lap the room twice. So I walk in, I say hi to the first people, and I do a one loop around the room. I come back around where I started, and I do a second loop around the room, and then I punch out and leave. And I probably lap most rooms, and so that way you can hit 5 or 6 or 7, like at something inside, inspire. You might want or have to do 5 or 6 different events in a night. So that allows me to come in. It's about 30 minutes total, 15, 20 minutes per lap, and I can punch out and be gone and go to the next one. So it's not and that for me is not fun. One of my friends calls it happy facing. Hey, how are you? I'm awesome. How are you? I mean, never mind the fact your feet hurt, your back sore. You just blew the pants, the seat of your pants out, getting in a cab, but you got to smile and make everything all good, right? Or you got a customer email that hates you, and you got to figure out how to handle it. You know what I mean? So there is that, but there's very often where I will show up to multiple breakfasts and multiple dinners in a day.
Yeah, and not warn the people you're taking with you.
And not warn the people taking with me. Well, you can never say coming and hanging out with me is not an adventure, because you never know
that's true.
You never know where you're going to end up and what kind of unique situations you're going to have to navigate through that are going to make you uncomfortable, Mark.
And what's worrying there is these are sober. It's not even like these are drunken, the sort of I woke up and I didn't have any shoes type I drank tequila story last night. We were sober and we were lapping around 17 dinners and 4 breakfasts in the last 12 hours.
And then even at the end of it, Ben's not even there when you're looking to pay the bill. Ben's already disappeared to his third
and
one
you're
that
gonna
night.
laugh. I did actually do 3 dinners that night.
Oh, yeah, because you went to visit friends after it. I'm like, I know nobody here. Like, Ben's gone. I hope nobody asked me to pay any money.
But on that note, it probably is time to finish up this podcast and let Ben get on with his day, because it is now 6:45 in the morning for him. So whether he needs to get up, get dressed, get showered, get whatever, and get out and have his own actual Ben day.
Yes. So quickly before you go, give us a quick rundown of where you're going to be over the next few months.
Next few months that I'm aware of, which means that I've actually planned because of things. So I'm going to be in Dublin next week for an internal training. So I'll be there for the week. I'm then going on vacation in Orlando with my family, so I go vacation and not be home again. And then I'm in Vegas for the United States Digital Transformation Academy. So the partners in the U.S. are going to DTA. I'll be there for a day, talking about connected field service. And then right after that, I fly back to Dublin for the CRM Saturday event there in Dublin. Janice putting on. I'm excited for that, and a hackathon before that. And then I fly from Dublin to Fargo, North Dakota, which I gotta say, I got gypped by so I booked my ticket and I said, oh, it's Dublin to Minneapolis, Minneapolis to Fargo. I'm like, perfect. That's about as close to nonstop to Fargo as you're gonna get. And I booked the ticket and then realized there was one of those tickets where it's one flight number, but it's 2 planes. So it's Dublin, Boston, Minneapolis. I'm like, I'm gonna choke you people. And then I fly home from Fargo, and then I'm in Paris in mid-October. So for an internal for the AST event in Paris, I'll be doing Paris, and then Resco has Resco Next in Rome, so I'll be hitting up Resco Next in Rome, and then another partner has an event in London, so I'll be doing Paris, and then bouncing over to London, then Rome, or Rome and then London. So I'll be in those 2 cities, and then I'll probably have some other things I'll be doing. So I'll be in Europe for those 2 weeks, and then I think I gotta go to Toronto shortly thereafter. I think I go from Paris to Toronto or London, Toronto, and I do some work in Toronto.
Super.
And then home for Thanksgiving.
Home at the end of what Microsoft really calls H1, so kind of it's the first half of the year. I'll be home, and then I'll be figuring out what I'm doing. So probably in October will happen. Yeah, I mean, what'll happen in October is I'll get lots of phone calls. I think November I've got to go 1 or 2 places. I don't remember where I got to go in November. I haven't thought that far ahead. How's that? It's actually funny. We're planning a family vacation for Disneyland in October or September. And the in-laws are doing some planning with it, and this is like a big thing for them. And like in May, they're planning out their eating schedule, and I'm like, guy, this is April. I'm like, guys, I haven't, you guys do what you want. Like that's like 5 months away, and I've got like 19 trips between then and now. You guys do whatever you want, and so it's actually kind of funny, just the difference between people who travel for occasionally for leisure and people who like are. Like I'm figuring out what I'm doing in Dublin today and tomorrow, right? And then and then Dublin, I'll figure out what I'm doing. So it's one of those things where you do a lot more just-in-time planning now than you did before.
Yeah, you definitely become much more comfortable with that whole. Yeah, we'll just see what happens on the day, don't you?
Yeah, but that's actually half the fun, though. I mean, as much as I love structured plan. I mean, my life is so structured. Other places that kind of going on a trip is, personal trips. Like, like honestly, the Orlando trip. Like everybody's like, oh, we're going to Disney, and we're all, I'll stop at Disney. I'm like, the condo I rented has a lazy river behind it. Like I'm excited just to go sit in the lazy river and
have somebody move you for you.
I'm hoping Beth will get a little, palm tree out, and that's not going to happen. But just sit in the lazy river with the kids and Beth, and just hang out and not care.
That's where you need the lazy river bucket of beers. Just
they don't allow liquor in there, unfortunately. So it's a liquor. It's an alcohol free zone. So
That's why Lazy Rivers in Vegas win.
Yeah.
Let's not
go there. I also learned in Vegas that it's a bad idea to take British people out with you to Vegas, where it's 120 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 45 Celsius, and drop them off the hotel, with the exception of picking up later, and not expecting them to drink heavily.
I mean, let's be honest though. I can't believe you actually thought that wouldn't happen. I mean, it's one of these ones where it's like more fool you for not realizing that was going to be the outcome.
Shame on you. Fool me twice. Shame on me. Yeah, it was shame on me.
I mean, how many times have you met Chris? You didn't think that was going to happen.
So let's change that subject. Yes, you're right. But the Vegas is definitely. I think Vegas is one of those places in the world. I detest Vegas, by the way. I'll say it out loud. I don't care. It's probably one of my least favorite cities to go to in this world.
Okay, so that actually answers the last question that I had up on my board as well. Was where's the place you would least like to go?
I'm already going
from
there.
hell?
Trust me.
And Vegas.
My ticket for that. Vegas is probably. So Vegas is a place I go to. I mean, a lot of conferences are at Vegas. Like most people go. Like I go to Vegas for leisure, and I'm going there once or twice. Vegas has all the things I detest. I can't stand the smell of cigarette smoke. Drives me nuts. I don't like drunk people. I'm not a huge fan of loud noises, lights crashing. Both my boys have autism, so my wife goes, "They didn't get it from just me," and she points at me, and she's probably dead right. So I don't like loud noises. I don't like noisy environments. So Vegas for me is that perfect storm of all those things that I don't like really get excited about in one place. And then top it off with, in the average year, I'm in Vegas 3 to 5 times.
Yeah, I can totally see why you don't like it. Like, I've never been in a Lazy River in Vegas, by the way. I was just thinking that out there, I know you get beer buckets or whatever in them, but I can get why. If you don't like bright lights, you don't like somewhere that never sleeps. Been to Vegas once, and the smell of cigarette smoke / fake air freshener in the hotels and casinos. It's a distinctive
and the
smell.
casinos are actually designed to like there's no clock. They're designed to trap you in them.
No windows, pumping oxygen.
But
no
have you ever
clocks.
seen like those mazes they have rats walk down or mice walk down? Like they lay these things out in such a way that in order to get to your
Yes.
hotel room, you got to walk through the casino floor. But they don't make it so you can walk like point A to point B. It's like point A to B to C to, like, you got to walk almost all the way around the building to get back to where you started.
IKEA's the same.
It's like,
actually, I'm not even lying. IKEA's the same. That's why there's no windows and no clocks that tell the right time and everything like that, because then you just lose concept of how long you're in there for. That's why when you go to
take
IKEA, you're there
IKEA
for hours.
and make everything flash and put drunk people and the smell of cigarette smoke. And so yeah, again, that
sounds like my.
So I think on that note, we will actually probably just end this now, because we're not going to get a better image to end the podcast on than a drunk overnight disco party in IKEA.
That actually, was it IKEA? Someone had sleepover parties, like you go sleep in beds.
I remember this. They had some weird. It was like promotions when they were opening some new stores or a new product line or something. You could go in and sleep there overnight.
I love me some IKEA. I think, by the way, if you want to, if anybody that's listening is single, and you want to figure out you're you need to do two things. One, you need to put them on a throttled Wi-Fi connection. See how they respond to a slow loading internet. And the second thing you do is you need to jointly assemble a piece of IKEA furniture together as a couple.
You're right. That's the test, isn't it? The slow going Wi-Fi. Like when my Wi-Fi goes slow, like I'm shutting the laptop off, I'm slamming it, I'm rebooting it, I'm doing everything. Building furniture, the amount of cursives that come out my mouth.
So I think the test for marriage for me is, can you do those two things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm all right without the Wi-Fi. I've actually got to the habit of switching my phone off for a few hours each night now, so I think I'd be all right without the internet. But feck build. I mean, I've got stuff that I bought in IKEA for the bedroom about 9 months ago, sitting in my hallway that I cry because I don't want
Me
to
and Jen
build
have got
it.
shelves we need to put up, floating shelves. I don't know. I'm scared to do it in case I put a hole in the wall and just.
No,
I've already
but no, the
painted
trick is
out
you need to
exactly
build
what's
the
going to
furniture
happen.
together. So as a couple, because like the way
Yeah.
Beth and I put together furniture is completely different, and like it is the ultimate test of you and your significant other melding together, because if you can do that, you can do anything.
I actually agree to that as well. Like totally, we've built furniture, and it's came in instructions they're obviously been really badly translated to English from other languages or whatever, and trying to understand that, get all the bits to pieces, get the right screws. I seen a pack yesterday where the screws aren't organised in number A, B, C, or D, or number 1, 2, 3, 4. They were organised in sections. This is step 1, this is step 2, this is step 3. And I was like, that's the best ways you could organise
Yeah.
screws. You only need to break open the section at that stage.
It's a, like I said, I think there are some, but I think you and your spouse need to put together a piece of furniture before you get married to understand how you interoperate.
The Ben Vollmer strength relationship test. Here's some IKEA furniture. Can you build it in the allotted time? Go.
No, forget the allotted time. Just can you build killing each other?
That has to be a TV show.
Okay, have you seen this? There's a show on Netflix called Flinched. Flinch? I think it's a British show, and it's literally just like things like that, where they like, and every time you screw up, they bug zap, they cattle prod zap you.
There used to be a show here back in the day called Krypton Factor, and it was teams of people that had to do things, but it was more obstacle related. But can you imagine that as here's a flat pack piece of furniture that's a wardrobe, go build it. Team building days, go build it. Oh my word, we need to set up a new camp.
Yeah.
This can be the next team away day. No, you don't need to worry about getting your friend across that river without getting them wet. It's just as a team build this wardrobe.
Can you build Hermas without killing each other?
Awesome. Right, so on that, Ben, we will give you the rest of your day to yourself to have some fun while you're in Australia. Thank you very, very much. It's been a blast as always.
And I look forward to it, and we will see you guys, and I will see the two of you in about a month.
Yep, 5 weeks' time we'll see you.
Yeah, we will see you in Dublin.
Take it easy, Ben. Have a good trip home.
Cheers. Bye.